Customer Success Manager at Clientshare, and today I'm going to be running you through some best practice uses of the system. So first of all, you would typically be using the system on a minimum of a quarterly basis, making sure you're getting your quarterly reviews out to your clients. Now this can also be on a monthly basis, but it is important to make sure your client is receiving something at least once a quarter. So we'll start off with a review I've populated just to demonstrate some best practice. So you've got the title of your review and then how your review happens, whether it's a follow-up or you want to send it in advance, or you're just sending over some documentation your client can look over. Now, this was a face-to-face meeting, and that I've added the meeting date there. So moving on to the introduction section. So it's really important to make this message personalised and informative to your client as well. And I would say that it's really important to add a video as well. So I know it can feel uncomfortable to start with, but it really does help build rapport and a connection with your clients, especially if it's a stakeholder you don't get to see that often. So we also see it does boost the scoring rates that you receive from clients as well. And then moving on to the content section. So we would say a minimum of 2 pieces of content per review is best practice. Obviously get as much out to your client as possible, but typically we would recommend sending your presentation that you've gone through with your clients, so your review presentation, and attaching that as a PDF or a similar format. And then you'd want to add any innovation or added value as well, some great company news to make sure that your client is aware of the great things that you're doing on the contract, but also the company is doing as a whole. So you can see I've added in a case study here, and I've also added an innovation initiative. I've also taken the time to add a brief description so the clients can get a little bit of context around what those things are, as they haven't had a look at them before. Now, moving on, we've got the contact section. So best practice is to make sure that you're sending this to as many stakeholders as possible. We would say to reach for a minimum of around 5 stakeholders to make sure that anyone that is involved in those retention conversations, whether or not they're involved operationally, but to make sure they know all of the great things that you're doing. So when it comes up to those conversations towards the end of the contract, they already know the benefits that you are delivering to them. Now, the next section would be the actions. So it is really important to make sure you are logging your actions in the system following your reviews, and actually assigning those to people, making sure that those are ticked off and are completed. So you can see I've added a couple of examples here. And the last section is to make scoring mandatory or optional. So if you're sending it on a monthly basis, you can make it optional, but we would say to make it mandatory at least once a quarter. And then you can send your reviews. Now, once you've sent out your review, you can come to your dashboard and see all of the key information in one place, with your scorecards on the left, tracking the scores from your clients. And if I go into here and I see the analytics, you can then see what scores your clients have given you individually, and you can see whether they've requested follow-ups. You can also resend to your selected recipients here, or add a recipient at a later date and send that to them. It's really important also to see that you can generate a link. So you can also copy this and send an email to actually encourage your clients to score, to make sure that you are managing risk in the account. So as I scroll up, you'll also see you've got your follow-up requests here. So it's really important to make sure that those are being reviewed by your leadership team and are ticked off once completed. Now you can tick off the follow-up requests, the upcoming actions, and also any feedback comments that have been followed up on as well. So I hope this was useful, and I look forward to seeing your pulses go out. Thank you.